Scrap Addicts. Today I am creating a layout using this month's cut file. You can get hold of this over at the UK Scrap Addicts blog, and there'll be useful links below for all products I use and links to the UK Scrap Addicts blog, Facebook group, how to enter this month's competition, which is sponsored by Thompson's Crafts, and all of the details that you might need. Okay, so for this layout I decided not to use it as a cut file. I'm using it as a stencil, and I'm just using my airbrush tool to airbrush over the top of it. Now I don't think this would work too well with ink sprays unless you were very careful with it, because it would seep through, but for doing something very light like this it does work, because the cut file doesn't shift at all, even though I've not used anything to stick it down. So all I've done here is just add some pastel shades and then just gone a little bit heavier over the areas where it has the writing hello, higher and hey on the cut file, just to make them stand out a bit more. But the overall effect is very soft colours. For my photos here, they're from when we went to a nature reserve near where we live, and initially I wanted to use both pictures, but I decided that it would cover up too much of that background, which I didn't want to do, so I decided to keep one picture to use with the actual cut file, which also has the pastel shades on, and I'll probably use that on the black cardstock as you saw just before. So now I'm just concentrating on this one, which is what I'm going to use for this layout, and choosing a background because I felt like it needed a border, because it is quite pale. I felt like it needed something to back it onto. And all the papers, embellishments, etc. are from my Mind the Scrap August kit, which is a UK company as well, so I'll be leaving a link below for that too. So here I'm just gutting the inside off my pattern paper so as not to waste it, so I can use the rest of it in layers. And I'm just struggling with my tape there. My ATG gun tape runner's run out, so I'm having to use double-sided tape and peel all the backing off, which is fine, but when you're filming it's a bit awkward. So here I'm just grabbing some tissue paper, because I want the photo to be backed on quite soft sort of layers, because I think it goes better with the soft background that I've created with my airbrush. So here I'm just adding some tape, and I stapled the tissue paper together to hold it all together in one piece, and then I just trim it down to the size that I want. I do go with quite a neat edge to this, but I do ruffle up the edges off my pattern paper that I layer behind it, which is the one that matches with the border. As well as that, I'm using the cute little swan card, which came in my August kit as well, and I'm braving it and fussy cutting it out, even though I'm terrible at fussy cutting, which is partly because I never do it. So I've been challenging myself to do more fussy cutting, because obviously practice is what you need for all these things, and I'm not going to improve if I never try. So I've attempted some fussy cutting. It's certainly not perfect, far from it, but I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. And not to waste the rest of the card, I'm just layering that behind my photo as well, because the pink border will match with the pink, the slight border I left around the swan as well. I'm just trimming off the brad from the back of that wing, which moves the glitter wing, just so that I can put it on the angle that I want and it doesn't stick out from the back. And here, these are not in the kit, these are just from my stash, these stickers, and there's lots of phrases and little embellishments on here, so I just grab a few. I grab my title from there because it matches really well with the background paper, and I also pull out a gold heart and 2 black hearts, because there is black in the swan on the outline, so I just want to draw just a touch of black into it so that it all matches up, rather than there just being one random black element within the layout. So here I'm making a shaker pocket, and what I've done is made a frame, 2 pieces of foam in frame shape, a piece of acetate, and then a background circle. And then I tested it on the spare piece of paper up there, and now I'm just adding the colours on that match well with my airbrush background, but this time using some pearlescent watercolours, which are a £5 from Hobbycraft if they're still available. So an absolute bargain, especially if you're just starting out with watercolours, then you're not spending a lot of money. So what I'm doing is just trying to get a really soft wish-washy background, and there's a close-up. They dry all shimmery because they are pearlescent. And now I'm just taking any static off my acetate piece using this anti-static bag, then adding some glue to the frame, which I then smudge in so that it doesn't ooze out onto the acetate, so there's no excess glue there to mess up the inside of the window. And then I'm adding a couple of layers of foam to pop it up from the background. These sequins are from Lucy's Cards, which is also a UK company, and again I'll leave a link below to that. And they are just a couple of selections from there that are in aquas and a little bit of pink in there as well, just to add into my shaker pocket. And there we go, that's my shaker pocket finished, which will be layered behind my swan. And I'm just using the inside of one of the foam frame pieces just to back up my photograph. So once I add in all my pieces, I decide that the Remember This is way too flat compared to the rest, so I decide to create a little tag cluster with that piece. So I take out a plain tag. This is a very thick cardstock so that it does take watercolour very well, and I bring out my pearlescent watercolours again, and I add the same colours that I use on the frame so it all ties in together nicely. So I just add quite a lot of water. That's what was in the spray bottle, it's just some water, and just add a few splashes of colour, swirling round, changing as they go down the card. Try not to mix any colours together that might get muddy. And so I'm just adding some yellow, pinks, lilac, and then a aquarine colour at the bottom, which ties in with the colours that I've put on my layout so far. And once I've done that, I just leave that to dry, dab up any bits where it's all starting to run together too much, and then I just let it almost dry, then add a little bit more here and there where I feel like there's too much of the cardstock showing through from underneath. And then that's about it for that tag. I also add the hole reinforcer, which is actually cut out of the pattern paper that's from the frame and from the paper cluster behind the photo, so that ties in with that as well. And then I think I'm pretty much done. I pop that up on foam so that all the pieces are all evenly elevated off the page, I guess is a word for it. And I do add just a couple of extra little sequins and a star on that frame. I just felt like it needed something at the top to balance it out. And now I'm just covering up my photo and that acetate piece and adding some gold Heidi Swap colour shine just to finish off the layout. And I think that is it about done. So thanks for joining me today, and don't forget to check out what the other girls are up to on the UK Scrap Addicts blog. See you again. Bye!